Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to the Caithness Amateur Drum Antiques Society tasting. And this evening I'm going to be tasting a rather unusual whiskey, Arbikie Highland Rye 4-year-old, bottled at 46%. This one was bottled in 2019. So Arbikie Distillery uh, was founded in 2013 by uh, the brothers John, Ian, and David Sterling, who have worked on their family farm since they were children. They are the fourth generation to own the land. Uh, the Sterling family has been farming since 1660, originally on the west coast of Scotland. In the 1920s, great uncle Bill began farming Arbikie on the east coast of Scotland in Angus. Bill subsequently passed the property to John Sterling, the brothers' grandfather, who expanded the lands before they passed to Alex Sterling. The place where the distillery is located is ideally chosen. To the east, the influence of the sea; to the west, the fields of the farm, and all this against the backdrop of the Angus Hills, which slowly filter pure water into an underground lagoon from which the distillery extracts its water for the whisky. Arbikie's goal is to keep all production steps on the distillery's premises. The farm grows its own barley, and the whisky is distilled, stored, and bottled there. Labelling and packaging are also done on site. The water for the whisky comes from the farm's own underground water source, and the distillery also distills vodka and gin. The Arbikie team benefits from the experience of its employees. Some of them look back on over 50 years of experience at Diageo, White and Mackay, and Jim Beam Brands. Whisky production started in 2015, and the release date of the first bottlings of single malt Scotch whisky is in 2029, as the first releases will not be available for 14 years. The whisky matures in bourbon, sherry, and red wine casks. So, as I've just explained, they don't release at the moment any single malt Scotch whisky. The whisky I'm tasting tonight is a limited edition single grain Scotch whisky. It's a 4-year-old Highland Rye made with Scottish Arantis rye, Viscount wheat, and Odyssey malted barley. It was copper pot distilled in 2015 before maturing in charred American oak barrels and Armagnac barrels, and bottled without chill filtration or added colour. Arbikie Highland Rye is the first Scotch whisky made using rye to be released in over 100 years. And of this particular one, there are less than 1,200 bottles have been released. So let's see what we have here. So this is non-chill filtered and naturally coloured. So something a bit unusual for us, it's a rye. And it has quite thin tears, I must say. It's a nice coppery colour. Uh, let's see what we have on the nose here. It's nice and spicy, and the spice is cloves, cinnamon, and some alpine herbs. But you also get freshly squeezed orange juice, hints of orange peel, and there's some wet woody notes. It's very distinctive and unique for me, a Scotch single malt drinker. There's something reminds me of the smell of cherry coke. There's plenty of spice, cinnamon, cumin, and a little powdered chili, smoked vanilla pods, and a sort of herb scented salt. We'll try them out. Now I'm getting some fruity notes developing alongside the spices with some peach and raisins and a touch of toasted walnut. Sweet notes of sticky dates, dried apricot, and a sort of vegetal caraway. With some dry oak spices and pepper mixed with oranges and an apricot sweetness. It's full of flavour with only faint hints of the cherries I picked up earlier. There's some alcohol heat and a few sharp notes as well. And the finish is pepper, mint, and a sort of dried apricot lingering. It's spicy with fruity sweet hints, medium length and warming. Slightly dry, and it gets sort of blackcurrant cough sweets. I'm going to try uh, 5 drops of water in this. Just a little bit of Scotch mist there. It's still a very spicy dram. If you let it settle, you get some aromas of warm, toasted, and buttered rye bread. I wouldn't say the rye is overpowering here, though. It's very mild. Uh, get some menthol, licorice, black currants, and smoky black cardamom. Try them out. And now the water smooths out the alcohol heat, and it makes it quite drinkable. Juicy black currants and blackberries, licorice twists, a sort of Belgian licorice, slight saltiness to it, and menthol. Uh, it's surprisingly soft and fruity and juicy with a comforting rye spice. It's not overly spicy. And there's peppermint and cherry cordial notes. And then slowly things become fruity with tinned peaches and dried apricots. And the finish now is warming and lasting with lots of fruit, which give it a real sweet edge that lingers. It's quite a long finish on the with water. So this one, it's quite a different and unique taste. The whiskey's, it's not like anything I've tried before. It's slightly less spicy when compared to American rye whiskey. And it's got a different spicy component. There's more oranges and clove spices with hints of caraway. It's warming and easy drinking. And it's an interesting and different drinking experience. I'd love to see what happens to this whiskey after another few years in barrels. Uh, it's a great beginning to a rye revolution that will add a new layer of flavour to the Scottish whisky landscape. Wonderful stuff, soothing and calming. And it's one to take to the end of the garden and contemplate life. Thanks for listening.